It's a privilege to be here. I've not really stood before a BADAGRY conversation like this before. My name is Mausia Sokiri. May I extend my appreciation to the Ministry of Youth and Social Development, more profoundly to our Commissioner for Youth Affairs. We're talking about the power of partnership, cultivating trust and understanding between youth and law enforcement agencies. Tunosa Lako can be rightly called a miracle child. He was the only child of his parents who waited 15 years before his miraculous conception. His birth was celebrated by the entire community. His parents were grateful to God for the gift of their son, a child whose arrival ended years of shame and stood him. Jerusalem vehicle being chased by security operatives knocked him down. Salako died on the very spot. The suspected vehicle was set ablaze. Economic activities were disrupted, traffic was paralyzed, the whole community went on rampage. I am sure that the average person here today can relate to Duro Salako's circumstance. Speaking with my honorable youth leader, he just told me of an incident that happened in Owode when we were just gathered here, that somebody was shot. When the immigration officers were engaging somebody, there was misfire, and somebody in the community, an old woman, was lying down or sleeping, was shot. This is our fate in BADAGRY. Is it a crime to stay in a border town? If I may ask our security operatives, what will the youth say? Ladies and gentlemen, it is our turn to address you today on the power of partnership and understanding between youths and enforcement agencies. According to the United Nations, the police to population ratio is approximately 1 police officer to 1,000 people, which is generally below the United Nations recommended ratio of 1 officer per 450 persons. Another question that immediately comes to mind is how many percentage of the police population are young people? If I will take a small survey here, then how many of us want to join the police force? How many of us? I know the DPO is saying that. Okay, the DPO insists that we should raise up our hands. How many of us want to join the police force? How many of us here as parents would want our children to join the police force? How many of us as parents would want our children to join the police force? We all know the answer will be the negative. Beyond the responses that we have here today, we know the responses on the lips of the average BADAGRY road user. We know the responses on the lips of the average businesswoman moving her products from the farm to the market in BADAGRY. We know the answer when it comes to the tourists who visit us here in BADAGRY. We also know the answer when it comes to a claimant whose matter is begging for investigation without mobilizing officers. What about the rape victims whose tormentors have been granted administrative bail only to run away? What about the employer who uses the power of the police to institute actions against their employees on every provocative action? I'm sure another answer is also on the lips of our young talented tech professionals who are being profiled all the time. When we say youth are being profiled, immediately you are on a particular airport, you are already being profiled. Imagine immediately you carry a laptop bag, you are already being profiled. Immediately you dress in a particular way, you are already being profiled. Why? Can we ask them why? We also know the answer on the lips of a young professional like myself who goes to the police station to speak a lot of grammar. This is what the law says according to section this of that, and the police is looking at me whether to bash it or our ladies. As much as we want to laugh, statistics that look back like this should worry us. It calls for national and local dialogue. As we have it today, we should sit back and evaluate the strength of our institutions we call the pillars of democracy. I wouldn't want to delve into that part, but in the past 1 week, every Nigerian is saying that Nigeria is a sovereign state. Nigeria is a sovereign state. Nobody elsewhere should come and dictate what should be. Of course, Nigeria is a sovereign state, and there are pillars of democracy that we should also respect. But when we don't respect the pillars of democracy, how well can we stand to tell another nation that we are a sovereign state? Thomas Hobbes, a great political philosopher, posited in his book Leviathan that the nature of man is inherently bad, brutish. Even the Holy Bible says that the heart of man is desperately wicked. Who can know it? So therefore, Thomas Hobbes posited that it is good that man is governed by a government, so that the excesses of man can be curtailed. It is the nature of man, he recommended, that it's expedient that we have a government and strong institutions to regulate human behavior. Therefore, we have the rule of law as a major regulator of the human behavior. I will not want to speak grammar and then people will not understand what I'm trying to talk about. I'm trying to talk about that in your bashiri youth. Bashiri, we are very bad. When it comes to protecting ourselves, when it comes to protecting what belongs to us, we can go all out. And that is what Thomas Hobbes is talking about. That in order to curtail the excesses of the youth, it is very important that we have government. It is very important that we have security operatives. It is very important that we build strong institutions that will combat these vices. That whether you are a government agent, a traditional ruler, an organization of the youth, or an individual, we all should play according to the rules. Can you tell somebody beside you? Let everybody play according to the rules. That there should be a code guiding our operations. The same rules should be applicable to everyone, and nobody should be treated less of a human. The Nigerian police, let's talk about the historical context. The Nigerian police as we have it today has a colonial history. Nigerian law school in Abuja. And somebody said, what is your name? I said, my name is Mausi Senami. I said, you are from Badagry. I said, exactly. I said, that means you understand the slave history. I said, very well. It is very pertinent that an ordinary person from Badagry would understand the slave history. So the police force was established to look after the slaves. Today we are also celebrating our return festivals, which was done some weeks ago, and some returnees came. We all joked, we laughed, we had a nice time. But beyond that, the question is whether we treat ourselves as free people. After our independence, the Nigerian police continue and some other forces were also established. Forgetting that we had a colonial history. The colonial masters empowered us to brutalize our brother. They empowered us to dehumanize our brother. But as that dehumanization stops, the answer is a no. Now that we have independence, now that we are free people, how do we still treat ourselves? How do we still treat our people with so much disdain? How? You see on the street of Lagos, the ordinary policeman is trying to harass another fellow. He's trying to slap a youth. He's trying to drag another person. Why do we have so much dehumanization? Especially in a period where we are governing ourselves. As a youth or a young person, you are already being profiled. I used to have a boyfriend who carried me about with his luxurious car. He's a legal practitioner, and whenever we go on the road, the two of us, somebody, the police officer, even before approaching, they are everywhere. They are stop. And the moment we wind down, they ask us, what are your particulars? Let us search your car. It is not really about searching the car. It is really about the profiling. How can young people have this kind of luxurious car? Eventually, when they search us, we bring out our files, we show them all our documents, and then we tell them eventually that we are legal practitioners. And they're like, that for not tell us before now. What about the average person who is not a legal practitioner? What about the average youth who is not even educated? What about the average person who does not know their rights from their left? Are we saying that our youth cannot be prosperous? Our security operatives, let's answer this question. A young person on dread is already being profiled, or a particular kind of low cost. Other supposed indicators of criminal behaviors include colored hair, tattoo, a high-end phone, a fancy automobile. All of these are used against the youth populations. I want to talk about the police. Section 4 of the Police Act 2020 provides for the duties of the police and other security agencies here present. The enabling law establishing us also provide for our duties, what we are supposed to do. And safeguard the fundamental rights of every individual. And I will make a frantic effort to correct public perception of that institution. I spoke about correcting public perception of that institution. It is very important because we are building a legacy. We are building an institution. Children that are about 10 years old, they don't know about what the law that creates the police force or any of these agencies says about them. What they see is their activities. And when you ask the average child, a 10 years old child, 15 years old child, what can you say about the police? I'm sure their answers will be in the negative. In fact, when they see the police ban, they run away. Why are we building such institutions? Very bad for our democratic system. I am not oblivious of the numerous challenges of insufficient fundings, hierarchies and systemic reward system, insufficient trainings and all that. But we must emphasize that fundamental human rights of individuals must be upheld. We're talking about partnership. Partnership is that agreement, is a collaboration where parties agree to cooperate to advance their mutual interests. In this instance, it is between youth and law enforcement agencies. Public security is the responsibility of everyone. When I was engaging our highly respected DPO, he said something that was very profound. He said, everyone here is a police officer. And that is very correct. The law empowers you. The law empowers everyone to make an arrest. The moment you suspect that a crime is about to be committed or a crime is being committed, you have that obligation to yourself, to your community, to arrest that individual. Youth groups and police departments to develop and adopt policies tailored to adolescent development, such as guidelines for investigatory stops, use of force, or handling mental health issues. Police can educate the youth about their rights, the justice system, interactive protocols through workshop and school visits, while youth share their perspective on current issues through forums and surveys. Both parties, both the youth and the police, can drive the social change that we must see. Thank you very much. My name is Mao Sisela. Goodwill message. Please put it together for me.
Thank you very much. No. Continue something. To Almighty God be the glory. I'm here with my council manager and council treasurer. Thank you very much for coming. All our uniform officers, I greet all of you. Our guest speaker, Barrister Senami Bausi Asokere, thank you very much, very much. You made my remarks simple, very simple. Youth, strong and reliable. Thank you very much. We are not here to drag anything with ourselves. The guest speaker has done justice to everything. Collaboration. She even asked a question, and I believe that question is what is most the problem today. It is not our own fault now. Ṣé fault wa ni kí Ọlọ́run dá wa síbi dá wa yìí? It's not our fault. To us, it's a blessing. But the agencies that are here to work to protect the country, let me put it like that, the country, because if you are not border area, I don't believe the security agency will be much here. You know, one more play what is causing problem within our youth now is the fear. That is one. Two, yes, the factory, the industry. The moment alone to go to my own, can go by 10,000, if you buy 8,000 no. But if you are blaming the security agencies, can wò ti sáìdì tiwa náà ká tó wò sáìdì tiwa náà gbogbo àwọn tó ń complain fún wa left right and center checking point pọ̀ kínní kan pọ̀ èmi ti ṣe research kan ní lórí ẹ̀ when I was in the House of Reps I followed 2 buses from my 2 to Oloko 2 public buses from my 2 to Oloko when we were coming if we get to the checking point the bus driver ó ti tọwọ́ bá kò mímọ́ ó ti ṣe báyìí wọ́n bá ṣe nà sọ̀rọ̀ ìgbà wá bọ́lẹ̀ wọ́n ní hey stop owó kílẹ̀ fún ọ yìí I just ask them owó kò mímọ́ fún ọ yìí ọ̀gá which money do you got I didn't ask him o you give him by himself o ask him my brother ní èrí kankan nínú àwọn drivers tó complain ní tí a fi débi pé wọ́n fọ́ọ̀sì dábàá owó lọ́rùn so wọ́n sọ̀tì. As you see me, I haven't asked them, but I'm telling you my own research. As I am, if I'm going to Lagos or I'm coming from Lagos, if police stop me, I will ask my driver, stop. I'm very glad. As I said, our guest speaker has balanced everything. He told the law enforcement agents what we expect from them, what the law say, and what they should be doing. Likewise, he told the youth that everything in life needs collaboration. The way you approach it, the way you talk, because gbogbo ọ̀sán àdìkúrò ní ìbíba ilé ìgbàlá ń kó lọ bò mí. We will still be here together and be doing things together. God will help us. Finally, before I drop the mic, the law enforcement agencies, I think they should ask themselves one question. Why is it that everybody is talking about this issue? Even our legislators representing us, kò sí motion mímọ́ tó ń yàtọ̀ sí topic without treaty. Why is it that the youth are talking about this? Because if I recall, within the last 2 weeks now, without treaty no delay, there was a conference abi seminar at Sultan Beach recent the same thing náà ni. So why is it the only topic we are treating? I'm appealing to them to go back home, think over it and do the right thing. The information I got just yesterday was that gbogbo agitation it is only the custom men that have tried in their little way to reduce why others not doing it, why others are not following suit to do what we are asking for. Another group, youth group, came to my office yesterday on this same issue, and as a chairman I don't have anything to do than to beg them, to plead with them not to fight, not to distort anything, that we will continue to talk with our people. This is another avenue for us today, and I'm appealing that everything we are talking about, don't just drop it as we are living here. Let's act on our request. But we are not saying go, we are not saying leave, but reduce. I mean, is that what we are asking for? And aside reduce, to our custom brothers and immigration, what are our getting the devil? Why coming to the market? Why coming to the house? God will help us. I am not a custom man. I am not a immigration. I am not law enforcement agent. I am a shaman. So our opinion on behalf of my people, God will continue to be with every one of us. I want to appreciate all of you for making this possible. God bless Badagry Federation. God bless Lagos State. God bless the Republic of Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Now, the youth? Okay, the question is, how police respond to emergency? Why will police, someone ask the question, why will police demanded for money from the poor complainant before charging case to court? Then the DPO responded that no police will demand money from you to charge case to court. Two, another person asked, why will security agency make arrest of drugs abusers and still pay them out of court? And the NDLEA personnel said they never bail out any criminal out of court. Their own, they make arrest, they charge down to court. That they even have a standard that whenever they make arrest of any drug abusers, I think they send a person to jail, 15 years in jail, right now? Okay. Now, number three, why is it that there is an accident case and when the victim go to the hospital, then the hospital will request for police report, and when you get to the police station and the DPO is not on seat, then the available officer will not have the authority to issue out the police report. Now the DPO responded to that. He said, no, there is always an incident duty officer that will respond to that. In absence of any DPO, there will be a call to the incident duty officer that will issue that. The FRSC officer stored private vehicle and requested for their particular to check, and at the same point, they collect money from commercial vehicle without checking their vehicle particulars. Then the officers responded. He said, no FRSC officers will check your vehicle documents, and at that same point, they will now extort money from a commercial vehicle that it has not done before. Am I right? VIO respond. The VIO officer said, do not pass. You know, they said the major problem we are having as a youth with these security agencies now is that the VIO now said, do not pass any aggression to any security agencies to avoid any embarrassment. In the sense that, you know, we believe in fallacy at times. Now, probably maybe I was being touched somehow in a bad manner. And you know, based on that, I need to pass the aggression on someone else because I was being accused or embarrassed by the last man officer. And from that place, when I got to the checkpoint of the police officer, I will pass the aggression on them. They said no, we should stop it to avoid any embarrassment. Thank you.
Government agents on both sides, between the citizens and also themselves. Alright, so the first thing here is there was a question that was asked when we were dialoguing. The first question was that why do young people always get scared of the police officers or law enforcement agents whenever they see them? And then the reason young people are always afraid of the security agents is due to fear created in them, that is the youths or the children, by their parents, due to always threatening them by saying that I'll call the police on you at any given point. Especially the FRSC, they said that a policy has been adopted and has been created around last month by their controller that if each and every of their bosses will go to schools and they will dislodge the children's mind and brain that, oh, they are not wicked people, they are not going to beat them. Or they will just say that they are friends with them, so they are not going to beat them. So they will be closer to the police and not avoid them at any given point. So yes, to the main point, it is said that the youth should get familiar with the laws. The youth, the children, the adults should get familiar with the laws that have been put down. For example, most of the police officers that we see on the road, by the time they tell us that you are charged with this, blah, 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 you will be scared. You do not know your rights. You do not know what you have against them. You do not know what rights you have to be able, you know, to counter whatever they say to you. So it is said that most of us have mobile phones. Even if we don't have mobile phones, we should know how to learn our rights. The things that we are supposed to know about ourselves. For example, okay, you should know that you have the right to get here, section 36 of the Constitution. You can say it to any police officer you see that, let me talk, I have the right to get here. I'm going to tell you this is what I this, what I blah, blah, blah. By the time you mention section 36 of the Constitution, the officer will be convinced that you actually know what you are saying. They will not write you. So you have to know your rights. And also the police officers, the law enforcement agents, should know the rights that are, given in the Constitution. Thank you very much.
see police officers asking our younger ones to wait, bring your phone, do this. And the police officer mentioned to us that in no account must you release your phone anytime they ask you to drop your phone. Because whenever they ask you that, let me search your phone, you cannot tell them not to use iPhone 12, and because you know that this popular one is using iPhone 12 in your phone. So you should know that anytime they ask for your phone, you should always tell them that let's go to the DP office. So then we have digital fraud. Digital fraud means deceptive or dishonest acts done using the internet. Many of us, we just click on any link, taking risk, pay 2,000 naira to get 50,000 naira. We click on it, and from there we end up committing or being the trap of those people that were trying to actually go away from. So please, not all link you click, always avoid that to avoid cyber crime or security. So I have this keyword, say, meaning secure, available, and empowered. Please let us all know that in no account must you just meet anyone, ask them and do this, do that. So always learn how to ask questions, and whenever they challenge you, you know your law. We have here in Cybercrime Act 2015. If you want to know about cybercrime and digital literacy, I asked the police officer that, okay, you are talking about cybercrime and definition, we have hacking. What about someone who is a professional hacker and is certified? Are you saying that if that person dey hack any place, does that mean that the police officer is going to actually condemn that person? And he told me no, that because they don't have the tools, they don't have the tools in detecting, because there is no how you just know that I'm doing Yahoo or I'm an hacker without a tool. So we learn that tools. So what are the possible solutions? We have stronger security measures, public awareness and digital education. We need to educate ourselves. Strong law and law enforcement. In fact, it told us that don't wait until something happens. Whenever you see something, go approach them, talk to them before the thing will happen. Not that when someone.
Thank you. My name is Comrade Son, and we are here to present the topic drugs, discipline, and rehabilitation. Reimagining police response to drug abuse. And what we have written here so far as our identified problems and suggested solution is we need to engage drug addicts and educate them on drug abuse. So this is that there should be a session for drug abusers, those who engage in illicit drug abuse. While in the session, while we were there, I learned one thing, that there is a difference between drug abuse and illicit drug abuse. So both the drug abuse and illicit drug abusers should be engaged and given orientation. So this is one of the solutions we are suggesting. And another one here is parents should stop sending underage children to buy drugs. So that is to say that we should engage our parents also, because a lot of parents today are even enhancing the drug abuse in the society, you know, by sending them to buy drugs and many other. In fact, it is a fact that we have parents who rely on their children, on their underage children to feed themselves. So thereby pushing these children outside to do anything just to bring in the money. So children who falls under this category or who are in this kind of situation are prone to drug abuse. Also we have youth police referral committee to handle feedbacks and should be empowered to take impactful actions. What we're saying here is that there should be a kind of committee or a firm, however we title it, that is there's going to be a partnership between the youth and the security agencies.
Articulate Nigeria Youth, build the youth. My name is CSP Olaita Moses Madekule. I'm the DPO of Orugo Police Station. My number is 070-34-44-1904. 070-34-44-1904.
My phone number is 070-323-057-323.
neighborhood, the entire community as a whole. My numbers are 080-358-69771. Let me take it again. 080-358-69771. Number is 070-555-655-875. You know why you to join for NDLEA? Forget about whatever you have about them. There are countries you cannot go to now without NDLEA clearance.